Okay. So this is a continuation of my Suzuki stream from the Suzuki Book 1 stream from last time. Disclaimer, this doesn't replace having a teacher in any way and should be just used as a guide. Alright. There you go, Book 2. Alright, so starting off we have, for some reason, starting off we have flats. We have like two flats, B flat, E flat, and we have arpeggios. Arpeggios are good. I don't know what they're trying to do here exactly, like why they have flats, because there's like no flats in the next. Are there flats? Are there B flats? Are there E flats? No. Don't know why they want this, to be honest. But it's still good, so I'm gonna just play it. I didn't do the repeat, and this is a repeat, just so you know. I don't know why this is, there's suddenly this B flat, E flat thing, and then there's like no B flat, E flats for a while. But I guess they have their ways of doing things. I don't know. But here comes the juicy part. Here we go, number 1, chorus from Judas Maccabeus. Book 2 is very nice because you have some foundations already, so they can just spam you with nice songs that are like not too hard, not too easy, I guess. There's a lot of the things that you'll learn from book 1, and like basic rhythms like quarter notes, eighth notes, half notes, dotted quarters. There's some dynamics, some slurs, and now we have a little bit more of sharps and naturals, and just a little bit more of like second finger higher, second finger lower, like half step movements. They trust you a little bit more. So from this one, I could see like right here, we have this third finger high, D sharp, right there. I'm just gonna play it through. From here on out, things can get very detailed. So if I just do like a quick quote-unquote walkthrough, it's not gonna be as effective as maybe like when I did it for like book 1. It probably was more effective for book 1, because as things get more complicated, you probably want more detailed explanations of things. Like it's probably more helpful to have more detailed explanations of specific things, or a teacher like catching you doing something. So yeah, definitely still you need a teacher for sure. Anyway, here I go. Presto is a slowdown, but I would say it's slightly less. I don't know what a good word is, like intense as a retard. It's an interpretation thing. And then yeah, over here your teacher will probably work. I can just imagine, like, over here with the sharp. The teacher will probably be like, no, their finger needs to be higher. Or I can imagine that happening, because you haven't, by now you probably haven't done that much like high third finger sharps, and then also after that high third finger sharp you have a natural third finger. Like it, as soon as you get used to this high third finger, you have this natural, you have this lower third, you have to lower it again. So it's like, what the? And I could just imagine like some time being spent here. And also probably a lot of getting yelled at for rhythm stuff, like hold the half notes longer, or no, you didn't hold the dotted quarter note long enough, and stuff like that. So expect those things, and tough it out, I guess. Alright, I'm gonna move on. I thought that book 2 was gonna take longer than book 1, but I feel like it might be shorter than book 1, because book 1 there's just so many things I want to talk about, and book 2 is like, I don't know, it's surprisingly, I feel like I might want it to be more of a demonstration thing more than very specific walkthroughs for each one. I don't know, because I feel like that's more for like a personal lesson or something. Anyway, moving on to Musette. Here we go. Let's see. We have a extra sharp versus the piece from before. So from the piece from before, you might have worked on it for a week, let's say, and your second finger is used to being low, like all of a sudden it has to be high again. So expect to be yelled at with your second finger, and just remember to keep reminding yourself that it's not gonna feel comfortable. And yeah, so I'm gonna play this. Okay, so there's a repeat for this one. Usually on the first time, like, it doesn't say retire, right? But like on the second time, I would do a retire. So like on the first time, I would be like, and then on the second time, I'll be like, this is just my own, like, it feels good to end with a retard. It's not written, just so you know it's not written. These like double slashes are taking, I think I explained it in the first one. It's like take a breath, but they don't want to ruin they want to write an actual rest and mess up the actual rhythm. So you just kind of rest. I feel like a lot of things I could say. I don't want to say anything that's repeated from what I said from the first one. So it'll be like, so that it's like a continuation. If you feel like I missed something, I might have said it in the first stream. So maybe that's why I feel like I'm going through this. I might be able to go through this really quickly. I'm gonna move on. So I'm moving on really quickly, but it really should be. It'll probably for if you're doing this for your first time, you'll probably end up like doing like one of these a week, or maybe like 2 weeks even. So Hunter's Chorus, what's different about this? Nothing that much. There's this new rhythm, maybe. There's this. There's that. There's also. There's that. There's ending one, and there's repeat, and then repeat to here, and then when you do it again, you skip ending one and you go to ending two. So that's the only thing I see that's new, really. I don't think I ever talked about the time signature yet. So the top number stands for how many beats are in one measure, and the bottom number stands for what kind of note gets the beat. So 4 stands for quarter note. So this means that for each measure there's 2 quarter notes in one beat. So here's 1 quarter note, and this whole thing, 4 16th notes equals 1 quarter note. This is like I'm going like really fast. Like your teacher will probably, if you don't know what I'm talking about, your teacher will probably explain that. Yeah. So again, 2 beats in a measure. 4 stands for quarter notes, so that means there are 2 quarter notes in one beat. If this number, the bottom number, were an 8, that would mean that it's a 8th note. There are 2 8th notes in one beat, and then 16 stands for 16th note. So it's kind of like that. All right, so I'm gonna play this. Repeat. And like the repeat should be, you should do the repeat like without any lag. Like if you lag, you should probably do it again to make sure like it's like when you like perform a performance, you want it to be like a complete like you're gonna have this really, if this is your first time, you're probably gonna have this really big urge to like stop and look like, oh, where does it repeat to? Like, and it's like, oh, where does it go? That's not good. So like make sure that you're able to do it, like you know exactly where you're jumping back to. Like, and like if you have a metronome going on, which you probably should, make sure that when you jump back to the repeat, like here, you're like hitting it on time with the metronome click. Then that's good. That's how you can like make sure that you're doing it good. And then after you repeat, you remember to skip the first ending and go to the second ending. So I'm gonna start from here. I did a tiny little slowdown at the end because I just like to slow down at the end. It doesn't say to slow down. It doesn't say retard or anything, but I did it because I like it. So Yeah, I don't have. I'm surprised I don't feel like saying that much for book two as much as book one, or maybe I was just in that state of mind last night. I don't know. But I'm blazing through. Number 4, long, long ago. Oh hey, Kikkel. I see you. Okay. Long, long ago. Here we go. On the piano. So like just to go over like it's my dog is underneath me. So it's trying to make there's this I see this like forte and then piano, which is like loud and then do the same thing again, quiet. So like I'm gonna just say a reminder. Loud is like you wanna do more horizontal bow speed. Maybe a little bit more pressure, but more so horizontal bow speed. I find that if you lean towards horizontal bow speed rather than putting downwards pressure, it sounds better for loud. But pressure is still good. Downward pressure is still good. So like when you're doing loud, you want to press down to be loud, right? But don't just press down because it's not as good. If you do like horizontal, it's better. That's why it's important to have a like practice so that you can play really smooth long bows. Like it just lets you do things more. So hello. Did your Russian teacher scream at you? No. He was just like, no, that doesn't sound like my student. Or that's not even, or that's out of tune. Or, yeah, that's not even, that's out of tune. That doesn't sound like my student. And he said loose energy a lot. That's basically all he said in my lessons ever. But it helped a lot. It was more complicated than that, but that's like what I remembered a lot. Alright, variation. Variation is the same thing except with variation. The fingerings are mostly the same. So the fingerings are mostly the same as Long Long Ago, the first part. But the bow is different. So hopefully you practice the first part really well. So like when you do the variation, you can concentrate mostly on your bow. Like hopefully you practice the first part so diligently that on the second part, this could be like a week later, like a week of practicing or something. On the second part, like you don't have to worry about your left hand because you are such a hardworking student. You practice so hard that your left hand is like going on its own, and you can be totally focused on how your bow is gonna go in the variation. So like for the bow, what you're focusing on is the slurs and the dots. So like you have like slurs and dots, right? The slurs are gonna be like you want it to be really smooth, and the dots you wanna. I think I showed this in the first stream, but you wanna dig in and like flick it and get a. If it sounds nice to you, it's probably good. You want to dig in a little bit like this, and then like, and it's like almost like pitching with the bow. So you want to be like, for the slower you want to, and then you dig in, and then dig in, like, put it down carefully, dig in again, like that. But when it's really fast, it's really complicated. So you want to practice it really slowly a lot, like. Okay, so it could be very excruciatingly boring to practice like the slurs that slow, but theoretically you should, because you should keep everything in ratio. So if you can't do this with like really good sound, you theoretically should go really slow and keep everything in the same ratio. Just so you know. You don't, I guess you don't have to, but. So like I'm putting it down really carefully, digging in a little bit, and then getting that flick, and getting kind of a crunch, but like, it should sound decently good to you. And when it's fast, it's like this. But like for each one, I'm thinking like putting it for each single up flick, I'm thinking putting it down really carefully, digging in and flicking it like that for each single one, even when I'm going really fast. So those are my main thoughts for this, and hopefully like your left hand is already really good because you just practiced long ago from before. So here we go. Sup, this is my first Kopiko lesson live from New York. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Well, I'm going through this book way faster than it's gonna be that useful for like individuals. So again, I'm gonna say for people who just start watching, I guess, there's no way this can replace your private teacher or lesson. This is just like a guide that I've wanted to do this though. Okay, so the thing with this next one is, alright, the first thing I see is this trill thing. Not really a trill thing. These are grace notes, and like these shouldn't affect your rhythm. Like your rhythm should be dun 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 1 2 3, and when you fit this in, it shouldn't lag you. But at the same time, they should be like really clear and really crisp. So that's the thing with these. Like if you play these 3 notes without the grace notes, it should be very on time, right? And if you play it with the grace notes, it should be still on time. And the grace notes should be really clear. So if you can't do that, you can practice those fingers. Well, there's just one finger actually. You hold down the 2, right? And then your third finger needs to come down, hit it, and make sure your third finger like presses all the way down and let go of it. And it shouldn't lag you. If it lags you, you gotta practice more. So if you slow it down, you want to keep it in ratio. So everything is still technically on time. The only thing you're giving up is speed. the other thing for this is the 3/4. There's 3 beats in each measure. That's what it makes it feel like a waltz. Boom cha cha, boom cha cha. So 3 means 3 beats in a measure, and 4 means the quarter note gets the beat. So there are 3 beats in each measure. So I'm just gonna go. If I notice anything, I'll say it after. I think that's the main thing that this piece is trying to teach you for this. So you're counting 1, boom, da da da, 1, boom, da 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 da, boom, da da, like that. Right. Oh, for these, like, they have a line and a dot, which is like, it seems contradicting, but if you just have a dot, it's like that, right? If you just have a line, it's like, so I interpret this as like kind of in between. Like, I play it like a line, but like I break it up in the middle. Chat too. I can't. PP. It means it means pianissimo, piano, double piano, super quiet. It actually writes slow down at the end. I'm gonna move on. Let's see what. Is there a name for when it calls for bow resets a lot? For bow resets a lot? Maybe bow retake. Like you retake your bow. I've heard it said like that. I really like this song. It's like, this one has a lot of feels, for some reason. Oh look, it says expressivo. Express yourself. Basically, like, to me, in my head, I just think vibrato a lot. By now, maybe you could have started to think about vibrato, depending on how like hard you've been working. I think if you've been working really hard, like really diligently, and like you've been doing like everything your teacher's telling you to do, and like you're getting all the rhythms like really on time. You're hitting all of your timings. You don't lag. Like when you turn on the metronome, you hit it along with the metronome every time. Your like intonation is pretty good. Like, your intonation is pretty good. You can start maybe thinking about doing vibrato now. Because if you remember what I said last time, when you do vibrato, when you do vibrato, you're taking away from your concentration for other stuff. Just know that you are taking away your concentration from your finger presses, your bow smoothness, like your sound in general, and your rhythm, your timing. You're just taking away from your concentration and putting it into vibrato. So try to be very prepared before you decide that you're gonna add that burden to yourself. Yeah. Okay. Here I go. Okay, by the way, this part is like an enormous like crescendo. So like just a general idea, you want to move your bow very slowly, but like with good timing and with good timing still. So like when I say slowly, I mean don't slow down the actual song or the piece. Don't slow down the actual tempo. But just slow down your bow speed and slowly get more use more bow as you want to get louder. Like so it'll sound nice like that. Like you see, like my bow speed is getting faster, but I'm not actually making the tempo faster. So try to take that in, like, you know, think about that. And that. There's a retard at the end. There's a lot of like long stretched out crescendos or getting louder in this piece. That's like this piece's thing. So if you see that, then just focus on that, because I think that is what it's trying to teach you. It's one of like the main things that it's trying to do for you, I think, for this one. I think it's deeper than that, but this is on the surface. That's what I noticed. This one is where finally we get one flat over here. Yeah, see, we've been all in sharps before. We get a flat. Alright, so like this is like the first time that you're gonna encounter a flat B flat. Besides like the really weird thing in the beginning. Like, see this? Like this, I don't know why in the beginning they're like play flats, even though you've never done it before. You gotta start somewhere, I guess. But then like there's no flats until way later for some reason. But finally at number 7. I mean, like this could be like months later. It could be for some people, at least weeks later, probably. All of a sudden, wow, flats. All I do is vibrato practice. Use pop and learn pop songs. Okay, so finally over here, you're definitely gonna not be used to this if you've been following along. Because all of a sudden your first finger goes from here to like, what the heck, down here. And you have to get used to that all of a sudden. And I can imagine like getting yelled at by your teacher a lot. Like, oh, first finger lower. Why isn't your first finger lower? Why is it higher? Move it lower. Or maybe some teachers will be like, hold on, first finger lower, let me move your finger lower. And they'll be like, shh, move it lower. I don't know. Or maybe they put tape on your violin and be like, don't press on the tape, go like lower than the tape. Maybe they'll be like that. Oh, here's a new rhythm. It's a dotted eighth note. So it's basically, okay, so like when you add a dot to something, you add half of the value of the time of the original note. Like, so for example, if you add a dot to a quarter note, half of a quarter note is an eighth note. So you add an eighth note to the value of that. That might sound really confusing. So like if you add a dot to a half note, half of that value is a quarter note. So a dotted half note is 3 beats. That's why. Because a dot adds half the value of it. But it's much easier to like feel it. Actually, I shouldn't say that. You should know how it works, and then you feel it. So over here, da 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 da, 1 2 3. This one, like each measure goes like 1. Oh, by the way, a C time signature just means 4/4, because it's very common. So a C just stands for 4/4. So it's easier. It's so common that people made it like C. They just write a C. That means 4 quarter notes in a beat. So this piece is like 1 2 3 4. For example, if I go at this speed, 1 2 3 4, that means that da 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 da, 1 2 3 4, right? And if these were eighth notes, it would be da 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 da. But like you just like hold this a little bit longer and make this one shorter. Da 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 da. And if it's like, if you do it in a dotted way, like if this is half of this, no, I mean like if this is halved and this is like add 50%, you'll feel that. Da 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 da. You'll feel like it's evened out, and this one is like, this one is 50% more and this one's 50% less. Hopefully. I think that you'll feel it. But anyway, that's the new thing. Show us some video. You want me to play? Okay. Here I go. Oh, is that for honey? Oh, see, you have like a C sharp also. So you have to start being able to respond to these sharps and these naturals also. So yeah, it's gradually getting harder. It is gradually getting harder. I keep stopping. I shouldn't. says like it says 0, but then I'm not doing it because I can't vibrato on it on a 0. You theoretically could if you go like if you vibrato the octave lower a little bit, but it's not the same. Retarded means slow down. And then you have to switch your mood to like this I won mood here. So the main thing in this piece is that rhythm. Like, it's been consistently doing that to you. So once you see that, practice it really hard and show respect, I guess. That's the thing with this one. I'm gonna move on. Witch's Dance. Oh my god, Paganini in book 2. It's a simplified version. Also, witches sound really evil. It sounds like some really scary movie. But it's not, it's happy for some reason. So here's more of that rhythm, but it's spamming you with that. Number 1, it's spamming you with that rhythm. Number 2, it's spamming you with triplets now. So by now, especially at the end, triplet, triplet, triplet. Triplets are 3 notes in 1 beat. So if you go to NISMA and you do like sight reading, man, the judges, like they're so lenient. They don't nitpick anything, but they will nitpick triplets like no tomorrow. So, cause it might be like a musician thing. If you don't do triplets, triplety, like even, for some reason it just pisses off musicians. I don't know why. It just does. So make sure that your triplets are even. Moral of the story. Make sure that your triplets really fit in one beat, and they're not like if you play a triplet like it's a dotted rhythm, like musicians freak out. It's like calling someone racist or something. Like people just freak out. They're like, no. And if you're in a NISMA situation, you're gonna get a point off. So I think this thing is trying to teach you dotted rhythms are like this and triplets are like this, and they're different. And you better make sure that you do it really different. Otherwise, when you go out into society, the very tiny society of musicians, you don't piss people off, I think. So, oh hey, Mercy. So, I'm playing it really fast, by the way. I should probably play it slower. See, I'm being careful about the triplets. this is really weird because all of a sudden you have like a finger position that's like first finger lower, and then all of a sudden you have to change to first finger higher. I can't really explain with words, but it feels really weird, and like that will probably throw a lot of people off. So be careful about that part. Those are the triplet spamming. It's like the final boss, basically, that you have to get past. If you could get past this without any complaints from your teacher, you did good. Like this last part. You practiced well. Alright, I'm gonna move on. So, in this next one, they're trying to teach you trills now. But it's really weird that they decided to go with 30-second notes instead of like, usually trills are written as TR, right? When you see a TR, you just go like that. But they decided to go with this writing it out approach so that you could see, I think students can see how trills are gonna work later. I think this is like preparing people for trills. So they're like writing things out. Usually you don't see 30-second notes that often. But I think they decided to do that because to like imitate like a trill, if it's written TR, then in the future, I think that's what they're trying to do. Maybe. Yeah. So this is a 2-page long thing. This is your first 2-page long piece. Things are getting serious now. I think I remember those being dots in another version. I totally remember those being dots. I remember it being... I totally remember that. Because if I play it like this, it doesn't sound right to me. So I feel like I used another version that had dots. So I'm gonna assume that they actually have dots in like the latest version. So I'm gonna go with that. A lot of people mess up on this because it's just a really, really uncomfortably high G sharp. Just gonna say that, throw that out there. Triplet, but like a triplet for an 8th note. It's basically a triplet. So page turn. when the music completely stops and even the accompaniment and the piano is stopped or the orchestra is completely stopped, it has a fancy name. It's called a grand rest. It's really cool. So 1, 2, 3. I'm counting 8 notes, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I think there was something in the first book where there was like two up bows, which these are up bows, and then that got your hand closer so that you could do a pits. So that's what this is doing also. And this time there's like, oh, triple note, quadruple note. But thank God that the bottom 2 notes are just open string. The bottom 2 notes are just open string. So all you have to do is, and then for this one, you just press this, and you just flick it across like this. And when you flick it across, you want to emphasize the top note. So like, you want to feel like you really hit the top note solidly, and the bottom 2 notes could be like more whatever, because they're gonna ring. It's open string. Like even if you just touch it, they're gonna ring. The top note is not gonna ring as much because you're pressing down on it. So emphasize it, like when your finger gets to the top, do a little bit harder. Same with the next one is 1 and 2, B and G. So you get those first, and then across, and try to emphasize the top 2. And then maybe vibrato. If you know vibrato by now, or kind of can do it, try it too. Yeah. The next thing is called ear training. Okay. They just make you play open G, 3rd finger G on the D string, and then playing them together to match. And you're supposed to know the difference between it matches and oh my god, it sounds really bad because it's off. So what you want the main thing you want to make sure is that your bow is steady and you keep it at a consistent speed so that you could hear how the 2 notes rub against each other very clearly. So I think there's some lag. Let me know if it's ends up being okay. Also, after the stream, I'm gonna just leave it on my YouTube, probably, so you can go, like, it's there. So like, you don't have to. For this one, normally I say the rhythm is really important, but for this one, what's most important is you hear that the notes match, right? I have a cough. So you hear that the notes match, so it doesn't matter if you're lagging for this one. What matters the most is that you hold the bow really steady and you get a very steady, consistent sound so that you can hear the notes rubbing against each other. So if you have to hold the octave chord for a really long time, do it. And like, if you have to hold it and roll your finger around to find the right spot, do it. Like this. I guess that's the kind of ear training that they're trying to get you to do. And then roll it around. Like, you should roll it, if you're not sure, like, you roll your finger through where the right note should be. If you can at least do that, you should be able to tell, like, oh, it's bad, and then it's kind of good, and then it's like goes into bad again. So somewhere in there is the right note. And then you'll train your ears that way until, like, you know, like, where the best frequency is at eventually. I'm gonna purposely roll a lot. Yep. Alright. Moving on. Oh man, I'm probably gonna finish the whole book 2. But first, I'm gonna drink a cough medicine really fast. I'm drinking cough medicine on live stream, okay. That's weird. For some reason, I really like this taste. That's so weird, right? It's raspberry taste. You know how when you're a little kid, you hate medicine? Because it's bitter? But somehow, I like it. That means I'm old. Also, I like coffee. If I can enjoy the bitter taste of medicine, that means I'm old. Alright, moving on. What is this one trying to teach you? There's like a soloistic run in this one from here and on. And there's a pinky stretch right here where my mouse is. It goes stretch pinky and back to normal pinky. And then there's this G sharp and then this F natural. That is really insanely big. It should feel insanely big and it should feel uncomfortable. And it's one of those spots where your teacher just yells at you a lot and you don't know why. But that's why. And look, there's an actual trill now. I'll get there. There's actual trill now. I'll get there. Alright. Here I go. Alright. My internet's being bad. So I just want to say for the trill, I'm gonna try changing the internet settings. Let's see if it gets better. Stream options. I can't change it while it's going. Alright. I'm not gonna change it. I'm gonna say that this the most important thing for a trill is that it's clear, that you can hear it really clearly. So like if you're practicing and you can't do it at the speed that you want, Only sacrifice the speed of it, nothing else. So just go slower and keep it clear and keep it even. And you can like start slower and get faster. That's like, it still sounds good. But make sure that both notes are very even. That's the main thing. That was that. There we go. And while you do that, count the timing of it. So. For that one, it does say retard, so you can like stretch it out if you can stretch it out. You probably should. I'm gonna turn the page. Oh crap. Okay, so I got to explain like what some thoughts about the trill earlier on. So this is the same thing, another trill. So I'm gonna move on. Okay. Is this the last piece? Oh no, it's the second to last piece. We're almost done. We're almost done with book 2 in one go. Although, yeah, it was like, that was like really, really fast run through. And like, there's a lot of details that I didn't talk about, so. Again, this doesn't replace having a teacher. Okay, so here's the thing for this one that I see right now. There is accents, there's slurs, there's dotted rhythms, there's accents inside a slur. Oh man, in this one, like, if you have an accent inside a slur, you just want to oomph the bow, like you want to push it extra so that it sounds like the accent's coming out. And if you can do a decent vibrato by now, which I feel like by now you probably should, maybe, I don't know, you can use vibrato to make the accent come out more. So, and there are slurred dots, which are like in the trio section, in this section, which are like, I think I talked about this earlier, so. You practice like each one. You want to practice each one and make them like poke out and decent sounding, not like really nasty scratch. So here I go. I think that's the main thing for this one. do it. That again. Do you see all fine? That means you go back to the beginning and no repeats count anymore until you get to fine. That's it. I think we're on the last piece. Oh, we did book 2 so fast, which might not be a good thing. I don't think there's anything that new in this one from a glance. I think this is more of a, they're putting stuff together to test your skills or to test what you learned in book 2. This is what it looks like to me. So I'm just gonna jump right in. concludes book 2. And that also concludes my stream. Thank you for watching.